Well, hello everybody and welcome to another Sunday morning show on a golf course. We came up to this golf course back in July. Very good friend of mine, Jason Brooks, who's been on the channel many times back when I was at Torquay, head greenkeeper over there, course manager. He's now obviously at Stover Golf Club as the course manager here. And they've had some amazing changes that have been going on. And I know there's been a number of you wanting an update as to how it's going and what's going on out here. And please go and check out that video there if you haven't already. It will give you a bit of an insight into where we're at where we've kind of got to right now. Stover Golf Club probably, well, it's a golf club very close to Churston and Torquay where I live here down in Devon. It's gone through some changes, some massive changes with a new road that's gone in, which has opened up the opportunity to change the golf course around. And I figured that today we would catch up with Jason because it's looking very green out here. Obviously this video is in association with Golfing Days, so if you haven't checked out Golfing Days, go and check those guys out. I do know they've been giving away some of these hats. So if you want to get your hands on maybe one of these hats, then head over to their Instagram page. I know they're doing a little bit of a giveaway out there on the Instagram page, so go and check that out. But let's go and catch up with Jason, see how he's getting on here at Stover. Jason Brooks back in the house, Stover Golf Club. Very green, Jace.
Yeah, well you took your time coming back.
I know I did, I do apologise. It's been very busy.
It's been green for a while.
Has it been green for a while? Yeah. What an amazing change that's kind of gone on. And I know obviously it was the shaping and everything was already being created back in July when we were last here. To see the humps and bumps all now greened up, and I know the sand isn't in the bunkers yet, and we'll talk about it as we go around, but it just looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, the architect's been in this last week actually, just because he's been, well, we'll see when we get out there, he's been marking where all the trees are going to be planted. So there's 3,000 trees to be planted this month, and he's thrilled. You know, he's really happy with what it's turned out to be looking like at this early stage, really, after not long. We've probably, contractors finished September time, so we've only had a couple of growing months, September, October, and then we're into winter. So for that short space of time, it's been quite good, really, how the results have turned out.
Well, I want to sort of discuss a few areas as we kind of meander our way around this lovely how many holes is it? Is it 9 holes? To this point?
This first phase is 5 new greens, 4 brand new holes.
Okay, so...
And then there's another phase next year, which is another 4 holes.
Okay, and that makes up the 9.
Basically, the front 9 is totally different. Yeah.
Right, okay. Well, focusing first and foremost, the tees that we're stood on right now. So we have had an awful lot of rain in the southwest in the last... Well, what feels like the last 3-4 weeks, all over Christmas. Yeah. And I'm expecting, whenever you used to come to Stover Golf Club would be closed a lot of the time because it was underwater a lot. It's very low level stream that runs right through the middle of it. But this is already feeling very firm underfoot. So the other thing that I've noticed, Jason, I want you to kind of explain whilst we're getting into it, is the tee behind us there is kind of like a roundish kind of feel of a tee, whereas this one is square. Yeah. So
yeah, all the new tees are either square or rectangular. The existing tees at Stover, well, they're a mixture of different shapes really, but largely circular or oval. But I mean, I think aesthetically a square tee looks very good. You know, I think you look at some of the top courses on TV and they're sort of square tees. They're not as easy to look after in regards to mowing, because you've got to mow into each corner and kind of back yourself out and mow into the next corner. But I think aesthetically they do look good.
Why are they so dry? What's going on with what's going on underneath?
Essentially they've been built like a kind of slightly lower specification of a green. You know, you've got your sub base, your drainage and your root zone, you know, so that they'll drain exceptionally well. You know, typically a tee would be made with native soil and just sort of seeded, and hence why half the time you're on winter mats, because they just can't cope with the wet weather you'd get. So these are really free draining, and they've got full irrigation on them as well, so they are hopefully going to cope all year round, and we don't have to worry about going on to winter mats.
Well, let's get out and have a little wander around, shall we, and see what else is going on out there. Reg is coming.
Hello, Reg.
Come on, Reg. Let's go for a walk, Reg. I mean, did you cut these greens especially knowing that I was coming in this morning?
Yes and no. I mean, they were cut today because this is the first day it's actually been dry enough to get machines out to these greens. The greens themselves are dry as bone, but you know, the rest of the golf course is soaking. So we've tried to avoid travelling around as much as possible. So,
and you can really understand how a greenkeeper is feeling the way that they cut their greens, so you can get a better understanding of how your staff are performing, can't you?
Yeah, this is this is Mark.
Attention to detail. Is this Jarrett?
This is Jarrett. Yeah.
This is our good friend Jarrett.
Yeah.
Who has hand cut these greens. Did he know I was coming in?
Probably. Did he know you were coming in?
He'll be watching this, so.
I would say I think he did. Yeah. But so he was under great pressure to make sure he got these straight today.
Yeah.
Because there's millions of views of your videos. So.
Well, they look absolutely fantastic. Mark's done an amazing job, but what a surface you've got on there.
Yeah. That's
Happy
right.
with it?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for how young it is, it's looking pretty good. I mean, we've got, I would say, 6 months roughly before their golfers will be on it playing. Yeah. So it's in the right position at the moment to be in good shape when it does open.
Yeah. It feels properly solid underfoot as well. Like, again, a bit like the tee, you've obviously got the top of the range construction underneath this going on, have you?
Yeah, this is a full USGA spec green. You know, it will perform all year round. You never get waterlogged. You've just got to bear in mind that the management of this is different to what you're used to managing on the other side, which aren't USGA greens per se. And you've got to micromanage it a little bit. In theory, they'll be easier to manage because they're going to be drier and firmer. You won't have a lot of the issues you have with older style greens.
Are they more expensive to run? Because are they hungrier? Because they're draining a lot more. I kind of heard that there was possibly that.
Yeah, I think initially you've got to have a fairly high input of fertiliser. Everything leaches.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing for it to lock onto. All the sand's inert, and everything will just kind of go clean through.
Yeah.
Over time, as the organic matter naturally kind of develops within the profile, then that will hold on to more moisture and more nutrients. So, yeah, as you say, you sort of refine your management thereafter. But yeah, they take a lot of water, which is another consideration to cost and what have you. Because it goes through nicely in the sort of wetter periods.
Yeah.
And a bit more feed. But the type of grass we've put down is creep and bent grass.
Okay.
Which, if it's to be believed, uses less nutrients, is more resistant to disease, and less thirsty than other grasses. So hopefully we've offset the construction a little bit to a degree with a better quality of grass species.
How much attention to detail do you spend when you're coming out and planning this green to pin positions? How does that work? Because I just looked across here and there's a little ridge up there that kind of looks like a little plateau that runs away towards the back left-hand corner there. I mean, do you look at this and think, okay, where can I start putting pins and things like that? Are you aware of that?
When Simon, the architect, was sort of, got the drawings and what have you, and then you start seeing it primarily being constructed by the contractor, you start looking at pin positions and you think, hopefully you don't think, God, there's no pin positions on this green, it's too slopey.
Yeah.
But you look and you generally think, well, there's a nice one. There's one for a Ladies' Day.
Yeah.
There's one for club championships or what have you. There's one to really, really annoy the members if you've got out the wrong side of bed. But yeah,
I can't believe greenkeepers actually do that. That is a real fact, is it? They do get out the wrong side of the bed and upset the members the next morning.
Yeah, I don't.
No, not you. No,
I don't.
No.
But
I mean, I'm looking at one there. Like I've just obviously this little ridge here, and it's a bit of a nasty little spot, isn't it?
Yeah.
You land it here, and you're down there. You've got to cut. You've got this bank to deal with on the side here, and then you've got this kind of tiny little plateau here, which you can't get a pin. I can imagine that you'll get a pin where, if you stand where you think where the first point of where you could probably put a pin, there.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, but you've got to remember this hole's only 300 yards long.
Okay, so you're flicking in a wedge into here.
So this is a consideration. If you're going to have these kind of shaped greens with positions which are a bit tucked away, it's all very well if you've got a wedge into them, but if you're going with like a long iron, then you've just created such an impossible spot for, and it's no fun then, is it?
No, it's not. No, it really isn't. But the rest of the green, pretty generous, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, and then it's obviously tight over the back as well. You don't want to misjudge.
You don't want to get that wrong, do you?
You're only a few paces off the back and you're in the hedge.
Well, Wedges, is that his friends over there in the farm, or? Because I think they're a lot bigger than him.
They're a lot bigger than him, yeah.
Moving on from Reg then, we come to the bunkers, and obviously that does not look, that is not sand. It looks like tarmac, but it's very spongy underfoot.
Yeah.
So I'm pressing down on that.
So I think you saw, last time you were in, you saw one or two which had been maybe partly done with rubber.
Yeah, with the rubber crumb stuff.
Yeah.
And this is what this is it? This is what they call bunker blinder.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's a
how does
rubber
this kind of work?
It's a rubber crumb bunker liner.
Right.
There's an inch of rubber crumb mixed with resin, and that is totally permeable. You will stand there with a hose and you won't be able to make a puddle. Underneath there's a drain and it will just fly through. And then you've got the revetted turf around the top, and you can see that unfortunately that where it's died off a little bit. That was where it was dry. It was so dry last summer that we couldn't get it kind of kept moist enough at the time.
But you're not going. It won't stay as a revetted bunker, will it?
No, the sand level is going to go up above that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, sort of a couple of inches on the faces, and then you know, ideally we'll keep some grass on it, but in time it'll probably be edged back a bit, and it will lose the edge to a degree. But good sized bunkers, not overly massive.
But plenty of them, because I can see plenty of them as you wander around here. You got 6 on that first hole back there, or the second hole.
Yeah.
Which we've,
I know, it's a bit much, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot to manage.
I know, it's more. That's it. Every greenkeeper doesn't want too many bunkers if they can help it.
No, but at the end of the day, if they're not washing out all the time, like you get with lots of bunkers, then they're easier to maintain, aren't they? If
they're built properly and the sand stays where it should stay, it's going to be a lot more easier to manage. Yeah.
Fourth green then, beautiful par 3. Is this is the one, if I remember rightly, which is the great doctor has shown himself here. And Reg was kind of running around and making a few tracks around this place.
Yeah, Reg had the zoomies.
He's had the zoomies. But a massive shelf kind of running, like almost separating the green in two. Yeah. And even then the back corner as well, giving us an option to go up there
you almost got 3 levels here, haven't you? You've got the top right, back left, and the lower front bit. Giving you 3 locations of different pins, I suppose. I think the back right is super difficult. You know, you've got to get over a bunker, and it's not the biggest of areas, and then long's no fun, and right isn't much fun. And if you bail out left, then you've got a really tricky putt. So this is the friendliest spot, isn't it? This is going to be your friendliest position to put the pin in down here. Yeah. And kind of what's the idea of, like, we've had a couple of flat greens kind of early on. Why would you then move into something that's maybe just a little bit more, got a bit more shape to it, a bit more slope to it? Yeah, I guess, I mean, the first hole was par 5, so you're going in there with wedge potentially for your third shot. Second hole, short par 4, wedge. Yeah. Third hole's a long one, so the green's relatively flat to reward you once you've got on that green in 2. This one's mid-length, so I guess they've given you a little bit more contours here just to mix it up a bit. Shake it up, why not? Yeah, just to make it not so bland as every hole being the same. I think this is going to be one of your toughest holes. I think this is deceptively toughest one. For the length of the hole, I think it's only maybe 150, 160, but you know, you hit the green and you're still not left with an easy putt generally, I wouldn't imagine. If your pin is back left and you've ended up back right or right side, then you've got a massive issue there. Yeah. Even if you're down here, you've got to then figure out your pace control coming up and down slopes. Is always difficult. I mean, you pull your tee shot left, there's a water hazard over the side of the mounding there. Long's no fun. No. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough hole. It's going to be your. I think it's going to be one of your toughest. By the time you do all your stats on it over the years, it will become one of your toughest holes. Well, the one that I'm excited about though, because it was under a little bit of construction, is the next hole, the par 5. So we said at the time that's going to be the signature hole, and I think. Do you think so? Yeah. I think it definitely has panned out that way. It's right from the tee. It definitely is a good looking hole. Okay, well, let's go and have a little look at that tee behind and then work our way to that hole. Now, if I remember rightly, Jace, when you looked at this from this back tee here, when you look across and you couldn't quite, and I know that there wasn't any water in that lake at the time, and they were very busy dealing with the fairways with their diggers, but you couldn't see much of the corner of that lake, and it was something that I think we discussed it off camera. Yeah. If I remember, I don't think we kind of went in it
too much on the camera front, because at the time it was a bit up in the air as to what was kind of happening.
Yeah.
What's happened here now then? You've cut that back a fraction to be able to get a bit of a better visual?
Yeah, we just felt that we needed to see what was awaiting you with your tee shot, really, and you could just glimpse a kind of bit of the pond.
Yeah.
But we just removed a lot of the foliage off the corner. There was a few bushes there and a couple of trees, and we took those out, and now you can see that there's a pretty big lake there waiting for you if you tug it
right.
a tad left.
So where we're standing now is kind of like, you're not, if this is 300 yardish, you're not, yeah. I'm not cut, like that's probably 260, 265,
yeah.
maybe pushing 270 to carry that corner there. I mean,
yeah.
So you're not getting over this bit. So
yeah, it's
unless you get downwind down.
Yeah, I mean, looking back from it, actually you're not really, you shouldn't
gaining
be taking.
anything.
Yeah, you're not
you
really
shouldn't
taking.
really be hugging too much of this side.
No.
You should be more kind of up this side.
I think if you hit it a bit further right, it actually gives you a little bit better line in as well, doesn't it?
It really does, and it's even though actually, to be fair, this where we're stood here now is kind of like the flattest point.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get up here,
yeah,
that's where it's kind of sat like this, and the ball.
There's a little hanging lie.
Yeah. Which can make it a little bit trickier going in, because you've got to then aim almost at the treble right to then bring it in.
Yeah.
To bring it in with all your bunkers. But what a fantastic, you know, you feel like all your hard work's done on the tee, and this is what makes, I think, a good par 5, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you're asking a question of the player off the tee, but then once they get it into position, you're then asking the next shot in. You know, what can you do with the next shot in? Because it's not, you know, it's still long enough for your average golfer, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, if you're being sensible, then you should probably hitting it out to the right a little bit and leaving yourself, you know, 80 yards in or something like that, rather than going for it, because left there's a ditch you can't quite see from here.
Yeah.
Just short of the bunkers, so anything left's being gathered up by that. Right is not a lot of room right. You'll just end up in the woods.
Yeah. And is this, Jace, I know the swans and the geese have moved in already, but is this your kind of, this is your water supply? No,
originally it was going to be. I think
yeah.
they had visions of pumping this and using it for water supply, but they went away from that idea in the end, and it's just aesthetics basically.
Yeah. So will this remain pretty full?
Yeah, literally. Even in the drought this last year, it was still flowing in from the sort of hills behind. So
yeah.
it's there's no reason why it wouldn't stay any. It will stay the same height as this all year round.
Well, the rain is unfortunately settling in, Jace, but
yeah,
this whole summer has been must have been a challenge, because you know we've had, talk about rain, you had no rain, and when you're trying to grow and develop the grass on this golf course, it must have been tricky.
Yeah, it was strange. I mean, in one aspect, it was brilliant for the contractor, because literally no rain meant it was easy for them to move soil around, and
yeah.
you know, they're not making a mess. But in regards to growing grass, there was it needed to water constantly,
yeah,
and the water system wasn't fully up to speed at the time. We had like one sprinkler head available at any one time,
yeah,
and we were all fighting over that one head, because the contractors wanted to water turf, we wanted to water our greens, and
yeah.
So it was a bit of balancing act for a while, but yeah, I think it's probably better that way around, rather than being a soaking wet summer and they're trying to move material around in the rain.
A mess.
It'd been horrendous.
Yeah. So in some ways it's good, but other ways it must have been a challenge. So to end up in the position where you're at now, where it's green,
yeah,
and you've kind of gone through the growth, because we're not getting probably as much growth right now.
Yeah, I mean the worry was that when the rain came eventually at the sort of end of August, that if we had like a day of rain and all the seed was in the ground, and that seed got moist, and then it dried out again if we had no more rain,
yeah.
all that seed would have gone to waste, so we would have to then reseed the whole site again.
Right.
But fortunately, once it did start raining, then another bit of rain came like a few days later, and then another bit of rain, and it became more frequent, and it was okay.
It's almost a bit of luck involved, I suppose, with weather. It's always...
Yeah, you can't control that sort of element, so you know, we had sprinklers covering large parts of the course, the approaches, tees and greens, but outside of that, all the fairways and rough, it was going to be a bit down to Mother Nature, what hands she dealt us, and wasn't too bad in the end.
Well, what a fascinating experience, really, Jace. I think from kind of your point of view as well, like the opportunity to go through this, as not all greenkeepers get this opportunity, do they, in their career, to actually go through almost like a rebuild or a new build like you've got here. I mean, it's a great opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exciting, and you know, I wish it was sort of fast forward till summer now, because this is sort of 2 months more of horrible weather and just kind of treading water.
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally, almost.
Treading water, which we've been doing today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to come back and redo this again, probably springtime, when you get a bit more, what feels like it probably is playable. When is it going to be possibly playable?
We got to be open by July at the latest.
Okay.
So, you know, it may be June, it may be May. We just have to see what the spring brings weather-wise.
And it'd be good. What it would be great to do is actually get a feel of like even if we roll a few balls around the putting surface to see what it kind of looks like and how it rolls and what it performs like. It'd be great. And also when the sand goes into the bunkers as well.
Yeah, I mean, next time you come, it'll probably look a little bit more like a golf course. The paths will be finished, the bunkers will be sanded, and trees would have been planted, and maybe some leaves on some of them as well.
Last thing I've got to say to you, Pro-Am, Torquay Golf Club.
Yep.
When is it? May?
May 26th.
Friday.
Friday.
Just a shout out for Torquay Golf Club, because obviously Jason and I are from there. You know, if you guys are interested in playing in the Pro-Am at Torquay Golf Club, it's going to be there. Jason will probably be playing. I will probably be playing. So if you're interested and you want to get involved,
you need an invite.
Invite. All right, okay.
Please.
Mark Passmore will be inviting you. So if you're new to the channel and you like what you're seeing from these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's so many of you that aren't actually subscribed, and we're trying to really push it this year to get it up to that 50,000 mark if we can. So please check. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It makes all the difference for us. Obviously, a big thank you to Jason, a big thank you to Stover. We wish you all the best, and we'll see everyone again very soon.